welcome to Happy Talks for Lunch. Episode 24 is on the subject of mentorship. Although I wish I had a mentor in my formative years, I was fortunate to be asked to mentor several cadets, young officers, staff ashore, students, children, and even young CEOs. To me, mentorship means offering guidance through real life experience, responding to the questions asked, and providing insight while allowing mentees to form their own judgment. In this episode, I share my exchanges with young professional mentees on a range of topics that they raised. Some draw on life at sea, but the responses apply broadly to many areas of working life. On life at sea to a young cadet about to join. Life at sea is a completely different experience, and unless you use all the opportunities offered, you will be wasting your time. I would say do not wait to be taught, for your hand to be held, or to be led. Go forth with curiosity and every new discovery while seeking and finding answers. While you travel, learn to absorb everything you see, hear, and experience. On returning home after a period away from home, reuniting with family is something everyone eagerly awaits. At first, it is the return of the prodigal child. Later, it becomes the return of the spouse and then the parent. Each reunion is unique, filled with anticipation, uncertainty, and pure joy, especially during the first 10 years or so. On feeling disrespected as a young trainee or a cadet officer, your question raises an important and familiar dilemma. This situation is not new. It has existed for generations, ever since the global shipping industry introduced officer training programs and placed cadet officers on board as apprentices, with some practical exposure and considerable theoretical knowledge. In earlier times, able seamen worked their way up to the officer rank, so the respect that they received was different. A similar pattern can occur ashore. When trainee arrives with greater knowledge, they may be seen as a threat to established ways of working. On the subject of working with different nationalities and being accepted, remember, when they are of any nationality, because they are human beings, one has to learn tact and read facial and body language signs while acting. Sometimes taking a step back only to take 2 steps forward later. On budding leadership. Good leadership means setting standards, leading by example, and earning commitment by helping people understand and share your vision. When teams see you as capable, fair, and supportive, they will follow you regardless of nationality. Use tact. Rather than telling someone that they are wrong, use your skill and knowledge to demonstrate another approach. Ask whether they think it works better. And when time allows, explain the reasoning behind it. This builds followers instead of dissenters, because people naturally value learning. Learn to observe and respond to facial expressions and body language. They reveal lessons no book or teacher may offer, and this awareness will serve you well. What do you do when you discover you are disliked? The fact that some people hate or dislike you or send negative signals, my interpretation more often than not would mean that you are doing things right and doing them well. I learned much later in life that this reaction is common. Many people we meet have ordinary abilities, and when peers see that you are knowledgeable, capable, and trusted by seniors as dependable, they may resent you for doing well. This can lead to a negative comments or at times social exclusion, which can be deeply upsetting. I have experienced this myself. Now, how do you handle being disliked? Although such behavior can be upsetting, it is often better to ignore it and feel sorry for those who act this way. Over time, I learned that avoiding arguments with people who are clearly wrong is wiser than trying to prove a point. A simple excuse to step away, visit the restroom, or get a drink can prevent needless conflict, even when you know you are right. On human beings. Human beings are the most difficult creatures to understand and comprehend. Their minds work differently, deviously, and destructively. As you look back in life, there will be very few human beings that you have respect for, either because of their achievements, leadership, or the way that they respected humans. How do you handle unpleasantness with co-workers? That, unfortunately, is life. And sometimes, as we become recluses and have our own reading habits and have someone to express our thoughts to, we remain sane and determined to continue the voyage of life and reach our destinations. On the unpleasant recent tenure, the ordeal is over. But remember, it was part of learning to understand people and their challenges. It will help you separate what matters from what does not, form your own sense of what is right, and find peace by listening more than arguing, even when you know that you are right. On treating people to get their respect, the opinion and advice of your previous boss to be cruel to get respect is something I would not subscribe to, and think it very immature for him to suggest that to young, impressionable minds. I am glad that you are able to talk to me about it, for I fear for those young persons who cannot voice their thoughts and are led by such advice. On evolving leadership, whether dealing with a ship's crew, shore staff, or colleagues, I have always believed that a leader must be knowledgeable, clear, and decisive. A leader should also be firm and maintain boundaries that others should not cross. For example, in the West, it is common to address one's boss by name, while this is less common in many Eastern cultures. When people imitate this Western informality, some may mistake it for excessive familiarity and cross the line. If such familiarity is allowed unchecked, the hierarchy of leadership can become a little blurred. In my time, both at sea and ashore, I might address someone by name, but if they crossed the line of familiarity, I would switch to addressing them by their rank, their title, or position. The message was always understood immediately. Leadership, especially when you are an authority, must be shown by example. When you take charge, listen carefully to the genuine concerns of those who work with and under you. If the concern is valid, act on it and credit the person who raised it. If it is not, explain your reasoning respectfully. This approach earns respect naturally and removes any need for cruelty. In my time, both at sea and ashore, I found that many leaders freeze when faced with serious challenges or crises. They cannot adapt, think creatively, or respond effectively. Some are never truly tested and pass through their careers without facing major crises. They may be seen as successful, but in reality, they have simply survived. Finally, mentees should seek mentors who bring experience, clear communication, and compassion. They should also take the initiative to build relationships and make the most of the guidance that is offered. Mentors, in turn, should listen carefully, share relevant experiences, recognize moments of doubt or distress, and lift spirits without subconsciously imposing instructions on shaping mentees into versions of themselves. Till the next time, while you remember to like, to share, and subscribe. This is Captain John signing off.